I have loved Dr. King since I was little. I went to a predominantly white elementary school, and when they would briefly talk about him, I would grasp onto that history and hold it forever.
We must come to see that the roots of racism are very deep in our country. And there must be something positive and massive in order to get rid of all of the effects of racism and the tragedies of racial injustice.
The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but rising up every time we fall. And I just want to encourage you, as you think about the legacy of Dr. King, you start looking about how to move to the mountaintop, you're going to have seasons and moments where you might slip, where it might fall, where it might not have gone the way you wanted, where things might not have taken place the way. And the goal is not that you're always perfect, that you never slip up. The goal is, are you trying? The goal is you engaged. The goal is you connected. And if you fall, get back up.
The senior pastor of Word Ministries Christian Outreach Church, Arthur Dean, served as the keynote speaker during the Alpha Kappa Alpha 2020 MLK Breakfast held Monday at the Lucy Sims Center.
When you get to a mountain plateau in any area of your life, what is going on below does not have any influence on what's happening at the top of the mountain.
The MLK Breakfast is an annual event sponsored by the AKA sorority. Savannah Brown is an AKA and served as moderator during the reflection portion of the event.
What does getting to the mountaintop look like to you for the community, our nation, or you personally? And so I will have my sisters of the Lambda Chi chapter pass around this microphone if you are willing to participate and answer this question.
To see people who need help. If I'm elevated, I'm going to bring somebody with me. And I've always done it in my career, and I try to do it in my life still. It's no good for me to reach what you think is a mountaintop or any plateau above where I am now if somebody doesn't come with me. We must remember it's never just about us.
So many times we look at mountaintop experiences as being parallel to having a title. And God has taught me throughout the years that I don't need a title to make a difference.
Now that is another thing closely related to racism that I would like to mention as another challenge. We are challenged to rid our nation and the world of poverty.
Jasiah Gavin is the president of the Sigma Gamma Omega chapter of AKA sorority.
He was one who believed in God, friends, family, and focus.
Letitia Bates says Pastor Dean's message reminded her that your background has nothing to do with where you are going.
Dr. King left a message in my heart that talks about the fierce urgency of now. It's not waiting until somebody else does it for you. It's learning what you have to offer and making that contribution in the fierce urgency of now.
Earl Martin is a local carpenter. He and his wife have been attending the MLK Breakfast since 1997.
We continue to be so inspired by the words and especially the life of Dr. King. We see him as a bright and shining light and a very, very wise person. When I look for inspiration, particularly in the political climate we're facing today, it's often the words of Dr. King who inspire me most.
Joanne Gavin is the treasurer of the AKA chapter.
It's important that this community continues to honor Martin Luther King. And I'm glad that our sorority was the first in the city to have a celebration in his honor.
Gavin says the African American community has come too far to be turned backwards since marching for equal rights with Dr. King.
The idea passed around that this country is for white people and not for other people as well. So we have to be very, very clear that we know what the turbulence is and how to avoid it. So that idea will stick with me, getting up over the turbulence. And getting over the turbulence means that we have the tools we have the values, we have the beliefs to get us to the mountaintop, even though there's turbulence.
And so I just want to encourage you, don't allow the rhetoric of the enemy to distract you from the purpose of the assignment. Okay, I'm trying to tell you, on the mountaintop.
In Harrisonburg, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.